Hello, I'm going to do the Capricorn energy reading, and this may or may not resonate with you. If it does, take the parts that do resonate. If it does not, leave the parts that do not resonate, as those may be meant for someone else. All right, I think that's okay. All right, so I'm going to use my Lenormand for this reading. So for Capricorn, current situation, all right, the birds, challenge, tower, need to focus on, yeah, narrowing it down. Okay, your past, mice, your strengths, bridge, near future, compass, advice, ooh, the ring, environment, storks, building, hopes and fears, the mountain, perseverance, potential outcome. Love it. Perseverance, don't give up. All right. I feel like the current situation is that you have a lot of chaos around you. You have a lot of people. There's a lot of birds. There's a lot of chatter. There's a lot of people talking in your ear. There's a lot of busy, right? A lot going on. Challenge is the tower. I feel like you're kind of feeling overwhelmed, that it's starting to build up, that it's starting to become a problem. And then what you need to focus on is we have the two owls. So I feel like it's kind of narrowing it down, right? Kind of getting some things off your plate, cutting some things out, removing yourself from situations that are becoming overwhelming. Yeah, there's a lot going on around you. Eight of Pentacles. I feel like you need to take a closer look at how all of this chatter, how all this chaos is affecting you, right? Are you sharing too much with people around you? Are you sharing too much? Are you giving too much of yourself? Right? Are you always giving to other people, but that you're not focusing on you? That's what I was saying. Like I was totally feeling like there's this tower here, but then I was seeing this tower here, right? That this situation, this environment is becoming too much for you. And you need to see that. Like you need to say, okay, how do I strip this down? And I feel like that's with the two owls, right? How do I clear things from my plate? How do I get away from this chaos? How do I get away from this scattered energy and like being all over the place? And I feel like it's, what do you need to focus on? How do I tear this down? How do I kind of change things up? Like what needs to be done? All right, your past. I feel like for some reason the thought too good to be true came through. I feel like you're always giving to other people. That slowly that was eating away at you. Like slowly, like you weren't even realizing it because I feel like things were happening so slowly that it was a little bit at a time that you didn't realize how much it was draining you and how much it was taking away from you and how much like the life was sucking out of you, right? Because it was slowly eating away at you and draining you, you know. It was like you didn't realize it because it was so little at a time, that it was such little that you weren't able, like it wasn't a big drain, it was like a little bit at a time. And I feel like that's what like was happening, and you weren't realizing that until it's gotten to this point with the two towers. Your strength, the bridge, and I feel like it's kind of seeing, okay, it's gotten to the point where you realize that like you, when you see these things that you're like, okay, if I need to walk away and I need to turn this off, then that's what I'm going to do. Like it's gotten to the point, like your strengths are that, hey, I need to handle this situation. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to figure out how I need to do this. Near future is the compass, which I love, is now you have this new direction. Now you feel like, okay, I've seen what the problem is. I see that it's been draining. I see that it's been going on too long. I see that I need to have some changes. And you're taking that time to yourself and you're like, okay, this is the new direction that I want to go in. This is how I want things to happen. This is how I need to change things. This is what needs to happen for me. We have advice, which I feel this ring here represents commitment. That commitment to your 10 of Cups. Love it. Right? And I said, which I've said lately, is that I feel like the 10 of Cups is coming out a lot for Capricorn, and that's why. It's because you're seeing the weak spots and you're fixing those and you're becoming stronger. You have that commitment to your 10 of Cups. You're having that commitment to yourself. The environment is the two storks, which is building, right? It's building, it's putting things together. These two storks are building this nest. You're building your own nest. You're building your own 10 of Cups. You're building your own security, that you're not giving that power to anyone else, but you're doing it. You're taking control of it. You're handling it. Are there people around you that maybe can help you with this, right? Yeah, there are. But basically, you're the one that's building this because you're having that commitment to your own 10 of Cups, right? You're figuring out solutions. You're taking control of the situation. Hopes and fears. Yeah, this is going to be a challenge. Maybe this is something that you're not used to. Maybe this is something that is completely different. But it's going to be a challenge. Again, hopes and fears. Change. You want change, but in order to have change, you're going to have those different feelings. You're going to have those different situations, right? It's going to be a challenge, but I feel like it's going to be a good challenge because you're going to see how strong you actually are. You're going to see that it's going to open up so many doors to new opportunities because you're in control. You're moving forward. You're going after what's important to you. You're not having all of this chatter and chaos. You're saying, okay, this is affecting me, this is bothering me, and I'm going to make that commitment to my own 10 of Cups. I'm going to make it happen. What are those tools that I have that can make it happen? I'm going to build my own nest. Yeah, I might need somebody else to help me, but I'm going to be in charge of building my own nest. Change can definitely be scary and challenging, but it definitely feels that it's worth it. Okay, so let's get a wisdom oracle. If you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, please feel free to check out the links down below. Chaos and conflict. 1000% that's what I felt here. That there's chaos, that there's conflict, but like I've said before, that those kind of things as chaos and conflict almost brings things to light to see, okay, there's chaos and conflict. How do I change this, right? How do I get past this? How do I deal with this, right? I got to change this because I'm not liking chaos and conflict. I want to remove myself from chaos and conflict. I don't want to always be the one that's giving, and I'm not receiving anything, right? I've had enough. Time for a nap. Take that break, right? Take that break and say, okay, how do I change this chaos and conflict? Let's get an energy oracle. Energy for the reading. Storm warning. Yeah, there's a storm warning. There's chaos and conflict. But what happens with the storm, right? The storm comes and it kind of tears things down, or it stirs things up, or it's, kind of changes things. But then when the storm is gone, the sun comes out and everything seems clear. And then you put things back together and it may be different than it was before because change was needed, right? That there's a lot of, rebuilding going on, but it was change that was needed. Not that I'm saying all storms, that change was needed, but I'm just saying, like, storm warning, that there's chaos and conflict and there's all the birds, and that I feel like this is building up for you. This is something that's building up and building up and building up. But then it's like we have the storm warning and then we have the cornucopia, and it's like making, even though it was chaos and conflict and it was kind of crazy, but looking at the good things that come from it, because change was needed, because it kept building and building and building. Definitely when there's storms, and there's any damage, like that's, not a good thing. That wasn't needed, but it was just more of the metaphor of things stirring things up and things changing, and that things were building up. All right, so let's grab the Animal Oracle. Elephant Spirit, learn from the past, right? Learn from the past. That if in the past, like, this happened, but then it's good for a little while and then things build up again, that you don't want to repeat those patterns, that you don't want to keep going around in circles, that you don't want to have to keep going through this cycle again and again. And how do you change it? Like learning from the past. Okay, if I see these patterns repeat and I'm seeing red flags, then I need to stop this before it gets any bigger. I need to stop it before it really gets going, because I don't want it to turn into the same cycle. I want to remove myself from that. I want to focus on this energy here. I don't want to be swirling around in this energy. That I want to have the commitment to my 10 of Cups, where there's this calmness, right? And there's this change. Learning from the past, repeating situations. We have dominance, believing in yourself, definitely. Believing in yourself and saying, okay, if this is a pattern that's happening, if this is what's going on, believing in yourself that, okay, that I'm going to take control of the situation and I'm going to change it. And believing that you can make the changes that are needed. You have to believe in yourself, right? To not give that energy or that power to someone else. To not turn that over to them. To not turn it over to other people, because you are in control of your own life and what you surround yourself with, people or situations. Some things you can't control for a little bit, right? But then if you say, okay, I really don't like this and I want change, how can I change it? How can I move away from this? Sometimes it takes a time, right? And you kind of have to put up with stuff and you have to deal with stuff for a little bit. But then you're like, okay, I have an end goal. I know where I want to go. I know where I want to be, right? I know that I want to get to this point over here, but right now I have to deal with this. All right, so let's grab some charms. Let's see, we have protected, we have family, we have the skull and crossbones. So being aware of those patterns, just like I was saying, being aware of those patterns that may start to repeat, being aware of those red flags and saying, how do I change that, right? How do I not follow that pattern again? And then we have the butterfly, and then we have the 4-leaf clover, like feeling lucky, having that transformation and that change and flying free and releasing yourself from this chaos and conflict and the storm warning and the birds, right? And these towers, and paring it down to what works for you. All right. Thank you so much for watching. As always, stay positive, stay safe, and I will see you next time.